Welcome to RiverCity-Media's Off the Record with Randall. As you can see, our standard guest, Howie Chaney's over here. And below us, we have a special guest tonight. Everyone knows my love of the Sylvania program, even though when I did post the ad, I put Sylvania County High School on it. But we'll look past me for that for right now.
That's right.
But we've been privileged to have a lot of the Sylvania folks on, and we're privileged tonight to have somebody. Howie, tell everybody who our special guest is and why he's more important than you are right now.
Well, we have former Sylvania alumni, current Sylvania Lady Rams basketball coach Kyle Finch with us tonight. He's more important than I am because he's got the green and gold on. I've got my supporting the Braves that'll be coming on shortly. So anyway, Coach Finch, we appreciate you taking the time. We know that the state of Alabama allows you to start practicing basketball this week. So I know it's been a whirlwind of activities for you. So tell us how it started off so far.
We've had a good first week. I thought we were very energetic. Monday and Tuesday, the first couple of days of practice are typically energetic. Everybody's ready. So I was anxious to see how the team responded day 3 and 4. And I felt like when I left the gym just a little bit ago, we accomplished what we had set out to accomplish for this first week. And our energy level was still high. So I thought, all in all, it was a good first week to get back in that routine and start getting ready for the season.
We talked a couple weeks ago at the Sylvania Geraldine game, and you said something that Randall probably don't realize and don't know about. And we've never heard a Sylvania coach say this, but you said you can't have your full complement of girls yet because they're busy in cross country.
Yes.
Wow.
Volleyball just finished up, last week. I've still got 2, 3, 4 girls that are participating in cross country. Their sectional race is next Thursday. So this is our first year in cross country, but like I told you, in my time, we've never had track or cross country at Sylvania. And this year this was their first year. And so I'm still missing a couple.
Well, you got to feel good about them participating in something other than just sitting around not doing nothing. I know that the cardio is going to be a little bit different, but at least they're being active instead of just sitting around and playing on their phones all the time.
Yeah, that's as a coach, I think we battle that a lot because there is so much they can do just by sitting still. So being active as opposed to not being active is a big benefit once they come over fully to basketball.
We're going to be jumping all over the place. We're going to be talking about basketball at first. We'll probably end up talking about a little bit of football. I see Randall's got his Braves hat on. We may end up talking a little bit of baseball. We're not your typical fly, we got a script and we stay to it. So just be ready. You don't know what you're going to be hearing or what type of questions are going to be thrown out at you. So, my next question is, you're coming off of the people that don't realize you're coming off of a runner-up state championship team from last year. Talk about some of the players that you lost and some of the ones that will be coming back that you're looking forward to seeing play this year.
Well, we had 4 seniors, Caitlin Salmons, Kelby Chadwick, Kylie Marie, and then Kennedy Lee, all of who were contributors and good players for us. Kennedy was an all-state player. She's moved on to play at the collegiate level, Berry College. So, we lost a big bit. Caitlin didn't necessarily score a whole lot, but she altered a lot of shots. She was long and lanky, and she was a big help defensively, especially. When someone would come in the lane, she could alter their shot. Got a good core coming back. We started 3 sophomores last year, and Leanna Curry, Embrielle Stopiak, Anna Farmer. All 3 of those were starters for us. But I'm excited. I kind of have those high expectations of them because I've seen what they can do. They've been there. Leanna's been on the varsity since 7th grade. Embrielle's been in and off the varsity since 7th grade. Anna come on the scene last year. And so everybody kind of knows about those three. But, what people may not realize is we also have, Harley Turner, Kirby Wisner. Those two come off the bench in the semifinals of the state tournament last year. Leanna and Embrielle got some foul trouble, and we had to go into our bench a lot quicker than I would like to. But when those two come on the floor, we pushed our lead to a 10-point lead at the half. So I'm excited about them. Our lone senior this year, Emily McBride, she's had a great week of practice. Lily Frost, she's had a good week of practice. Abby Santiago, she's one of our girls that play volleyball. She's had a good week of practice, just getting her back in that routine. So I feel good about our roster and what we got coming back.
Coach, it always amazes me, and it seems like, today it's become more and more specialized. If you go to some of these mega schools, kids aren't allowed to play but one sport, and I think it's crazy. But your girls coming off of volleyball, is one of the challenges early to get up a lot of shots, to get that shooting rhythm back, or is it just to let them get out and feel those muscles that you only use for basketball?
I think it's a balance. The shooting aspect of it, obviously you want to get that shot so when we catch it, we know what's going on. But you also have the conditioning aspect of it that you really got to, hit hard and heavy, especially early, because you want them to have their legs once the game gets there. So I think it's a balancing act, what's best. Because, obviously you're not going to know what's best until, hindsight. So I think it's more of a balancing act than anything.
Do you think I'm a big believer in multiple sport athletes. It seems like it just makes them better when it comes to each individual sport. Do you find that your players that play multiple sports kind of stay in better shape year round than maybe the girls that just focuses on one sport, or is that again if or and according to the kid?
Yeah, I think it's more each individual kid. I've never told a kid, play this, don't play this. I've had a couple of girls come to me and say, Coach, I don't know about playing softball. And I just look them straight in the eye and say, listen, I'm not going to tell you to not play softball. I'm not going to tell you to not play volleyball. If that's what they want to do, then, hey, let's go be good at it. Soccer. Our girls' soccer program's pretty good here. We've had it, I think, 4 years, and 3 of those 4 years we've been, 2 or 3 rounds in the playoffs. I'm just not going to tell a kid, and I know there are coaches who tell kids don't play anything but basketball, but my kids will never hear that from me. I think it just depends on each individual kid.
Coach, and then Howie, after this one, I'll shoot it back over to you. Coach, I made the incorrect assumption when I was talking to Howie. I knew about your state final running last year, and I would go, well, he's going to be young this year. And Howie goes, he is young, but he's experienced. How much does that run last year give these kids confidence headed into the 21-22 season?
I think confidence is not lacking now. Last year in the run itself, we beat Pisgah twice, who's a state champion. And we had some adversity. We went to Collinsville in the sub-regional game. I think at the time they were ranked 4 or 5 in the state. Played well there. Got a big win, and it was back-to-back nights. But Collins won on Wednesday night. If you remember, you may not remember, but Howie probably does. Played on Wednesday night due to weather. Well, Thursday night we played the Sweet 16 game, and so it was back-to-back. Ohatchee's got one of the better post players I've ever played against, with the exception of maybe Prattville Christian. But so I don't think confidence is where it's going to be our downfall at some point this year. I don't necessarily know what it will be. There'll be some adversity wherever, once we get going. But I think the confidence is there. They went through tough spurts last year. And, I think they're tried. And I think that should be an advantage for us.
Sounds good. Howie, I'm going to step away for just a second, monitor the internet feed because we are in some weather. Howie, you follow up. If I drop off for a minute, guys, I'll be right back. So, Howie.
We're not worried about you. Go ahead, buddy. We're not worried about you. Go ahead. Let's talk about last year's team for a second. You had a great run, went to the finals. What do you contribute last year's success, or what point of the season did you think, okay, we're clicking now? We've got a chance to be better than what you anticipated?
Coming out of the county tournament, we got beaten in the semifinals by Collinsville, and we felt like we had chances to win that one. We let it slip away. Plainview, we kind of up and down a little bit after that. Plainview did beat us 20. The regular season game with them, Piz did kind of beat us. I think it was about 20. And as we're preparing for 5, Coach Talley was giving me a hard time. We were talking about 5, what we could do, what we could not do, that type of thing. I guess going back to your question, after that first game of the area tournament with 5, I think we were up about 30 in the first quarter before I realized it. I told Coach Talley after the game, I said, Coach, I feel bad. I said, I wasn't trying to run the score up. I said, it just happened quickly. So after that, I felt like, hey, this team's got a chance to be special.
Yeah, you're talking about Coach Talley. That's one of your assistants. Let's hear about some of the assistants that you got this year. Who's coming back? Do you have anybody new, anything like that?
Well, of course, Coach Gary Talley, he'll be back with me. Derek Talley, he'll be back with us. The only new addition we got is Coach Hannah Van. She come over to us from Woodville, of course, the wife of Coach Tyler Van, our football coach. Excited about what she brings. Excited that she's going to coach our JV, and with her experience, more so, playing experience. She has some coaching experience as well, but also I'm excited about her bringing that to the table with us, just her knowledge and experience.
Yeah, she had a great junior high coach back in the day at North Sand Mountain. You'll have to ask her about that one day.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll talk about it tomorrow. I'm sure she'll have some.
You hold on to your fame while you can. It's fleeting, so you hold on. By the way, Howie, John Seals said War Eagle to you.
Yeah. Okay, John. Appreciate it, buddy.
So, Coach, I was able to hear what you were saying. I want to kind of go in a different direction, though. You as a coach, you're almost a professional. You've coached how many different sports?
Football and basketball. And I was the golf coach for 1 year when I was at Geraldine, but I try not to tell many people that.
And you've coached at the junior high level and the high school level, both, right?
Yes.
What has coaching at all those levels gave you the ability that you don't think most coaches would have? Did you learn how to teach better as a junior high coach? Did being a football coach teach you strength and conditioning? What do you have in your bag that most coaches wouldn't, that's only coached one sport?
I think it's a combination. Touch on the strength and conditioning side of it. I did. That is kind of the background I brought to it. But then as I've researched it more, there is a big difference. On the football side, we want our linemen squatting as much as possible because we got to be able to move him and get him out of the hole or whatever. Whereas it's more finesse, being able to move laterally with the whole basketball thing. I think the biggest thing that I've brought from coaching on all levels is really the importance. When you get kids who are lacking things in junior high, then it's still going to be lacking once you get to the varsity level. Once they get behind, let's say they're not in the weight room 7th, 8th grade year. By the time they're in 9th grade, as opposed to someone who has been in the weight room, who has been shooting, who has been doing that skill work, we're fighting a battle that's tough to win simply because, that other kid that you're comparing them to is not getting behind. So, it's hard to close that gap. So I think then the importance of each level, I know I've heard some people say, it's just junior high, or it's just JV. But in reality, at some point in time, those kids are going to be with you on the varsity. And so it's just as important for those kids to practice, to get the weights, to get the shots up, as it is, my starters on my varsity team.
So go ahead.
Go ahead.
No,
well, I was just going to say that, the correlation is, when you're talking about football, building that mental toughness. It's not easy. I asked my point guard, Leanna Curry, if I looked at her minutes, 30 to 32 minutes a game, with the exception of the T.R. Miller game, which she reminds me often about, which is that semifinal game when she got in foul trouble. Not only does she take care of the ball, get us in our sets, defensively, she's on the front of our press. She's guarding their best girl. She guarded Ella Cannell in a state championship game, 3A player of the year, had 30 points against Susan Moore, and Ella Cannell had single digits. So building that mental toughness, not just in practice, but in the weight room, in the summer, I think that's a direct correlation to things that I got from coaching football also.
That's interesting. I'd like to just follow up just a little bit about, I want to go back one step. I should have asked this earlier. When you played, how many times did you play Pisgah last year?
3.
So when you've played a basketball team like Pisgah 3 times in a year, how do you show them something you hadn't already showed them?
Well, it's tough. You prepare for them and what they do. And in my mind, I think, all right, what's he going to do to counteract this? What's he going to do differently to what we're doing? And to be honest with you, especially with non-area opponents, we may tweak here and there, but we're not going to tweak just a ton. For example, against Plainview, we went zone in the regional finals. We played more zone in that regional final game probably than we had in the past 2 years combined. More times than not, I wouldn't do that with a non-area opponent. So we'll tweak just small things and try to get better at what we do and have that success at what we do instead of just, 360 turnaround. Hey, we're completely changing everything we do. So we try to keep it very, very similar.
I think it's one of the challenges. I've been lucky to be around high school sports for 30 years. And a lot of people have told me knowing when to coach, when to not change, and when to do what the kids do naturally is one of the toughest things a coach does. And that's almost what you described there, is when you're going to step in and change that pattern. So when you did go zone, did the kids feel a change? Did they know it, or did you tell them ahead of time, hey, I'm going to play zone, or did you just let the game flow through?
That was kind of our game plan. It was, Plainview. We played Plainview. Talked about playing Pisgah 3 times. We played Plainview 5 times.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah. So we played Plainview 5 times. They beat me both regular season games and in the area finals. In the area finals. We beat them in the Sand Mountain Tournament finals, and then obviously in the regional finals. So going into that game, Coach Talley and I had been in conversation about what about this? What about this? What about that? And when we come in, I think it was a Sunday afternoon or whatever. I said, Coach, what about this? And I started drawing up what we're going to do. He said, Coach, he just started laughing. And I said, what is it? He said, that's exactly what I was thinking. And we had played some zone against Ohatchee in the Sweet 16. So, I didn't really necessarily say to the kids, hey, here's what we're doing. But we did rep it, and we did, try to come up with what we thought Coach Griggs would do to negate what we were doing. So, the kids knew, and, I think they bought in and said, hey, we're going to do this. We can do this to be successful.
Awesome. Howie, I got one more follow-up, then we'll shoot back over to you. Coach feels like he's in the firing line. Two fat guys asking him questions. That's
all good,
last
man.
time we went to eat, same thing happened at the restaurant. Coach, I think that's a great point. The follow-up I did have for you was when, and I did several years ago, I was in the DeKalb area, and I was able to do a lot of high school basketball in the area. How much of and I knew Coach Talley back then, how much does having somebody to run X's and O's off like that help you mature as a coach and help your coaching style?
Well, nobody will ever understand it, and I don't think Coach Talley will ever understand. I think as humans, we always like a kind of security blanket, and that's what he is for me. There'd be all kinds of times I say, Coach, what about this? Coach, what about this? And we didn't always agree. I mean, he'll tell you this. We didn't always agree about a lot of things that we did, but it wasn't anything ugly to each other. But I think what he sees versus what I see is totally different. I mean, he's been in the business for a long time, and when he's sitting on my bench, he sees things that I may not, or he thinks of things that I may not
Right.
that are outside of our realm, but once it's all said and done and we talk about it, I say, well, that's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. So I think he is elevated, and he probably doesn't understand this, but he's elevated where I'm at as a coach from now to the first time he stepped in with us.
That's awesome. Howie, I said I didn't have another follow-up, but I do. So hold on just a second. You said about game day that just on game day, I think being a head coach in basketball is it's tough. You have to be you are involved in the game. Head coach at basketball, you're right there. It's not like you're on a sideline 50 yards away. It's an interactive coaching position. Is Coach Talley, do you hand off certain duties to Coach Talley, like your rotation or just keeping chart of minutes? Is that something you do, or do you keep that still to yourself?
It just depends. He knows that he's got the green light. If he sees, girl A, hey, she needs a breather, let's get her out, or it's a late quarter situation, he does sub. But it's not out of the realm of things that we do. And he doesn't necessarily chart for us, but Derek, his son that helps us, he does some charting and stuff for us just to see what we can recognize and tendencies and things like that. He's more, like I said, he knows he has the green light to sub should he feel the need to. But he doesn't abuse it and say, well, Coach, he does everything within reason. And even subbing stuff, I'll say, Coach, what do you think about this? And he'll say, yeah, I think you're right. I say, all right, let's go ahead and get her in. And he takes care of that aspect of it for me. That takes some off of me in game stuff because, like you said, it's fast, and sometimes you forget. Oh snap! I haven't subbed.
I'm a high school, especially. You are blessed to have a good staff. I'm at a 3A school in Tennessee now doing sports, and I go to schools that are 4 and 5A schools, and they have one basketball coach, and I'm like, how is he keeping all this in his head? When I really think unless you have a good staff at this level, it hurts you. So,
Right,
you're blessed.
you're right. I agree with you.
Howie, take off on my rant is over for a little while.
I got a question for you, Kyle.
Uh-oh.
What got you into coaching basketball? Let's change the subject a little bit. It's still basketball, but get into a little personal stuff as far as what got you into it.
Well, I always tell Coach Rowell it's at Skyline, it's his fault. So I was at Geraldine helping Coach on coach football. Coach Rowell and I got to talking, got to be good friends, and ultimately I coached. My first coaching was junior high girls basketball wise. We had a little success. My first year, like I said, I had a little success. Second year, we won the county. At the junior high level, it's not that big of a deal, but it's still that taste of success. And not necessarily success on my part, but seeing girls' faces light up when they do something that they didn't really ever think they would do. And that kind of lit a fire under me, and it just kind of took off from there. I've been very fortunate to have good coaches, good people around me, good parents, good players, and that's just kind of how I got into it. I know why you asked that because hey, he's a football guy, and ultimately, I still love football. I still support Coach Van and the football team, but my love for basketball came on, I guess you would say, late. Just being interested in it, having that success, and now it's just that success keeps driving you to be able to try to reach that.
Well, I remember your senior year, you did. You wanted to play basketball, but you had a broke foot after football season, and it lingered on during the whole basketball season. I knew you was interested in basketball, but I knew I don't want to say your true love, but one of your main loves was for football. And I was just curious about how you got into the basketball side of it.
Yeah, it's crazy how that turned. Like you said, I broke my foot. And so I sat on the bench with Coach Thrash, and that it just kind of, went on from there. And, as you get into coaching, you think, man, I want to play for a state championship. If I could just play for one, I'd be satisfied. I never dreamed year 3 of being a varsity coach that I would be playing for a state championship and have a chance to win that. So, like I said, I've been blessed.
Something that Randall don't realize here, and he's going to get excited when I say this. When Coach was at UAB, he was an equipment manager, and he was on the sideline with Coach Phil Fulmer at Tennessee when UAB went up there.
Nice.
You're right. I was the ball boy on Tennessee's sideline, so me and Phil were, I wouldn't say friends, but we were acquaintances during that day. Had chance to win, by the way.
Yeah, they did. Daryl
Hackney.
Roddy White. Yeah, I was there sitting in the end zone. I was I've been a ball booster alumni. Coach Fulmer and I were kind of there together. He knows me good enough, Coach Finch. He put me in his phone as Ronald. So he thought he knew me, added me to his phone, put me in under the wrong name. So
well, at least you're there. Be positive.
Yeah, that's what I tell everybody.
Me and Howie we didn't get there.
I may not be under the right name, but I'm in the same Rolodex as Peyton Manning.
There you go. Hey.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought 20 years later that we'd be all sitting here talking about this situation?
Not I. I'll be honest with you.
I still remember the football game like it was yesterday. I was mad afterwards. I still was mad. So even though Tennessee had won, but Coach, you said 3 years, and that just really that almost made goosebumps pop up on me. Man, that's a quick rise up the coaching ranks. So you ever look around and go, I'm at Sylvania as the basketball coach. I went to school here, and this means a whole lot to me.
Yeah, I told somebody, I asked Coach Thrash the Sunday after we got beat. I said, Coach, does this feeling ever go away? Like at some point in time, you've had success, but you feel like you had an 0 and whatever season because I didn't win the state and I got runner up. He said, Coach, give it about 6 weeks, couple months, you'll realize what you've accomplished. And as we went back to school, I started thinking about it. I'm at my school. I graduated from, year 3. We've had a good bit of success. We've been to the sub-regional round every year I've coached. We've been to the regional tournament 2 out of the 3 years I coached. Played for a state championship in year 3. It's almost surreal because this is my dream. As when you go into this profession, like I said, it's everyone's dream. Get to that biggest level. So sometimes it's hard to understand and realize, hey, we are, we're in a good area. We're here where we want to be, and you can achieve goals that you set out for yourself.
Yeah. That school has a special place in my heart. It's where I got my start in broadcasting, and over 30 years of doing high school football and basketball, I've called 5 state finals, and the team I was there to call has never won. So you can't blame that on me this time. I wasn't there. It's not my fault.
Oh, don't worry. A few rebounds and a few box outs. That's what I blame mine on. So good. You're good.
But if you get there this year, I know a little media company out of Chattanooga that might come down there and just stream it for you, though. So
that'll work. The more the merrier.
We could do something like that. Coach, let's talk about the school just a little bit, because it does. In 1992, I called Howie's games in high school. That community, that high school, there's a special bond. And Plainview's up the road. I'm not insulting Plainview or Fife or any school up there. It's the fact that those schools on the mountain, it's different. And I've been all over. I've been at North Jackson. I've been at South Pittsburgh. I'm in the Sequatchie Valley now, and I feel like it almost feels the same. What makes the schools on that mountain so competitive and the kids so willing? I mean, that's some of the toughest kids I've ever seen. It's just a different mentality, don't you think?
Yeah. The one word that kind of comes to my mind is togetherness.
Good.
Because everybody pulls together as one. Last year, a lot of people forget about this. It was a tough year at Sylvania. Just some things that had happened. It was just an extremely tough year for us. And I felt like as a basketball team, the further we went along, the more everyone just kind of bonded. And it's nothing I've done. And like you said, it's the community. It's the girls. It's everybody fighting for each other. I told the girls after state championship game, when we played Plainview at our place early December, there was right at 400 tickets sold. We play in the state finals. Sylvania had about 600 to 700 tickets sold. When we walk on the floor, it's lime green, bright green shirts everywhere, people going nuts. It's loud. I can't think. Some of my girls, I looked at them and they got that, oh no, look. But I just think, to reiterate the point, and it doesn't matter, Plainview, Fife, whoever, togetherness, community support, pride. People have pride in what we do. It's not just everywhere that kids are going to come together and do basically whatever's asked. And that's the way at Sylvania. I was very fortunate at Geraldine also to have those kids. You felt like you had that feeling of, if you said run through that wall, they may not could, but they were going to die trying. And I think that's just the close knit together communities that we have here on Sand Mountain.
That's a special kind of love is what it is. And that's a love communities have for their schools and kids have for each other. It's in 2021, it's a special feeling. Now,
yes.
Switch completely gears. Where does your philosophies come from? Did you steal a little bit from this coach, a little bit from that coach? I like the way they play that man. I like the way they run this boxing too.
Yeah, it's really kind of pick from here, pick from there. I know Howie remembers him. You may remember him, Kel Black, when he was coaching the boys at Geraldine. I really always admired their way. He always had lots of sets in, and they could run them, in whenever. I take some stuff that I learned from Coach Thrash, incorporated it, and when you pull that together, you kind of try to find validity in that. Hey, what I'm doing is right. And I told somebody the other day, I don't remember who it was. I'm always trying to watch coaching clinics, whatever. And the guy said, whatever you do, it ain't what you're doing, it's how you do it.
Good point.
And that's what I try to tell the girls. Every day we're trying to get a little bit better of what we did yesterday. So going back to your original question, I think I've just pulled from here, pulled from there. Because to be honest with you, I'm a man guy now. I used to think, man, when I become a head coach, I'm going to play zone. But now, with the current players I have, we've been man to man more than not. I know I talked about zone against Plainview in the regional finals, but, I just pulled from here and there things that fit, one, my personality, and two, things my players can do. In 3 years, Howie may be saying, why have you changed so much? Well, if my players have changed, I've got to be able to adapt to them. And in order for them to be successful, you want to set them up to be successful in whatever it is you're doing.
That's awesome. Howie, after this question, we'll come to you. And, Coach, you have to watch him. He's our Oprah Winfrey. He'll make you cry. He'll ask you about some people and make you cry. So I'm sure Howie's going to ask you about some folks that's been influential to you. But I said the other day, I went and covered a middle school championship game. And a couple of parents walked up to me and said, hey, thank you for doing this. It makes the kids feel special. Well, in 30 years of doing high school football, I would have got to do none of it in basketball if it wasn't for the kids. So those young folks that makes it possible for me to call games, make it possible for you to coach. Just run through your roster a little bit. You don't have to talk about everybody, but run through maybe some people you did a little bit, but just mention everybody's names or give them a shout out, because they are the heart and soul, I'm sure, of your program.
They are. I'll just, we can get a little bit of time. You're talking about weather. Sounds like there's some rolling in here.
Yeah, take all the time you need, Coach.
But just, our junior high, and we're predominantly seventh graders this year. Annalise Schrader, she come to us from Henniger. She's a seventh grader. Jocelyn Sanders, Mallory Miles, Hallie Sizemore, Jalen Smith, Natalie Atchley, Kate Wissenant, Brinley Harris. All those were seventh grade girls. And then Addison Dawson would be our lone eighth grader for the junior high this year. Some are going on to our JV girls, Natalie Davis, Natalie Calvillo, Taylor Martin, Claire Martin, Molly Weaver, Allie Farmer, Lexi Lucas, Isabella Gullidge, Jaden Ashley. And these next two girls have been new additions. But have picked right up where the other ones were. Avery Jenkins, she come to us from Georgia, and then Stormy Little come to us from Section. She moved in this summer from Section. On the varsity level, the ones that I don't think I mentioned, Savannah Roper, she's a junior. Abby Santiago, she's a sophomore. Lily Frost is a freshman. Kirby Wisner, sophomore. Callie Ashley, junior. And then Anna Farmer is also a junior. So, we've got probably about 30 to 35 girls. And I try to make it a point to where, they see me as coach, but I also want them to see me as, hey, he is human. He is normal. He does care for us. He is there for us. Because if we're just being honest with each other, in 20 years, is it going to be that state tournament run that we talk about, or is it going to be about the memories we made in that run?
Yeah.
And I just think that the memories are going to outlast, hey, here's what we did. The memories with each other, what we did.
It doesn't matter if the trophy was gold or silver. The journey there was the same for both teams. So that's special.
Yeah, there's no doubt. It was a fun run, and after the emotions settled, I talked to multiple girls about that and the fun that we had there. They probably enjoyed it, the actual run and the trips, more than I did. Of course, I'm sure you can imagine I'm on eggshells. What's this one doing? What's that one doing? Did I break down all this film? Did I get this set? What if they come out in a new one? You know how it goes. It's just never ending. So, anyways, but it's those memories.
And I did do a few games in the 90s and early 2000s. State of Alabama runs their state tournament well, and they try to bring the finals to a central location. It's really well done, and it's a feel of a big time tournament.
It is, and I think that's what the kids love. Obviously, they were renovating the BJCC this past year,
right?
And they played at Bill Harris, and I was kind of skeptical about it, but once we were there, it was really a better venue than I had ever thought. Growing up, I was BJCC, and that's the stage you're trying to get to. But when we enter the Bill Harris Arena there at the Crossplex, it had that feeling. People are waiting in line to get in. People out everywhere. We're bussing in, going around, going in the back door, going to the dressing room. You got to sign in. You got to have your tags and all that stuff. You go to a specified dressing room. You don't go sit in the stands and wait for your game. That stuff gives it that collegiate atmosphere. And the AHSAA does a really good job of promoting that so that the kids do feel that way, when they make it there.
I once got to meet Sir Charles Barkley at a state final, and that's I was sitting in the media room, and I kept hearing somebody talk, and I go, I know that voice. There's only one person that's got that voice.
Oh, yeah.
And it was him. Howie, are you ready to Larry King him and Oprah Winfrey him?
Yeah, no Oprah today because I don't have cars to give away. But
okay, all right. Well,
I'll be sure to have John Seals to buy him a bottle of water tomorrow at school, though.
You think John Seals?
He'll probably come to my room and try to steal one from me.
Now, well, we've been on here for about 40, 45 minutes now, Coach, and let's talk about the true person behind you being able to coach, and that's your wife. She takes over the household starting probably about 2 weeks ago, because if I ain't mistaken, that's when the junior high really started practicing. So you gotta give her some kind words, or you won't get out of the doghouse for a while.
Well, typically about this time of the year is when I kind of make my palette, and I'm there for a while. Obviously, of course, how he knows we have 3 kids. Our oldest is in kindergarten, so it's a juggling act at all times. I mean, you can just imagine. And my wife does a phenomenal job. That's what I tell people. Last year they would talk about, "God, y'all da da da," and I say, "Listen, the real MVP is my wife." She would bathe, get them to sleep. I'd come in at midnight. Sometimes she knew, hey, I don't want to talk to him. I don't want to see him. Or like regional tournament, state tournament, those 2 weeks there, kind of, I'm just gone. I mean, just being honest with you. And she kind of keeps things together here at home. And so, she really is the real MVP. When we get in season, and I try to help her as much as possible, but you guys know the time that it takes, and it takes me away from my own kids because I love the other kids and I want to be with those kids, and I want them to make sure to understand I want to be there for them as well. So, like Howie said, she is the real MVP. I'm trying to hang around a little bit. This week with varsity started. We had a junior high game earlier this week. Next week we start up with 2 and 3 a week till we start varsity. So it's that time to where anytime I get, I'm going to try to wash some dishes, cook some supper, try to help any way I can while I'm here.
Right.
Awesome.
I just got a text from John Seals. He said he'd buy you a Coke and a water tomorrow. So congratulations, Coach.
Oh, he's splurging now. He's splurging. We better watch it.
Alone.
Yeah. And guess what? I hadn't even opened the text yet, but I'm a psychic. I know what it says before I even open it. So there you go. Hey, looking at Sylvania's coaching staff all the way from top to bottom and everything, it's got to be probably one of the youngest ones around with, not with you and Coach King, Coach Van, and everyone else. How do y'all get along together as far as kind of, I don't want to say growing up together because y'all came from different places, but
right.
Y'all are all pretty close to being the same age, and it seems like y'all are all helping each other out.
And you hear people talk about it takes a village. It takes a village for the coaches as well, because if we're just being honest, coaches are not always the most popular people. But Coach King coming on, Coach Van, Coach Clark's now doing softball, Coach Richards baseball, Coach Mitchell soccer. It's funny, she'll probably kill me for saying this, but Coach Kittle, who does our volleyball, she's the oldest coach on staff now, and she was like, "Oh, that's bad." But she'll probably kill me, so I'm waiting for a text, but that's okay too. But it does help, when the age gaps are not astronomical, and we're all together. I guess y'all see what I'm laughing at now. That ain't good.
Yeah, I'm getting the same thing here.
Okay. Anyways, but just like we're covering for each other. Tomorrow football team's leaving early. I'm splitting athletics so that those guys can go. They cover for me. It's I told you Kiddo would text me, and she did. But
you're still younger than me. Trust me.
Well, anyways, I'm sure I'll catch that tomorrow, but that's okay. But we all have that same goal, same mindset. We're younger, and I think it's easier to interact with each other. Not that I haven't had any issues interacting with any of them that's been here, but when you're talking about new or younger, they're bringing new ideas to the table, and it's always good to see new ideas, new things going on that we can try to. She's still blowing me up, guys. I'm in trouble.
That's why we do it from our phone. That way we don't have to check the text.
Yeah. Well, it's all right. She probably meant for me to see it there. But anyways,
I bet you there's a heart in one of those texts. I just want to say it.
I don't know. Anyways, but as a group implementing, new ideas, things that maybe you hadn't thought of in the past.
Like our buddy Phil Harris talks about on the radio station a lot with Coach Van, and I put you in the same boat, and Coach King, and even Coach Kittle, being as young as she is, being able to relate to the players and, kind of listening to some of the same music and having some of the same ideas and growing up with the social media age, that's got to make you and your players have a little bit more of a special bond.
It does. I think the whole social media took everything by storm. If you look back 5 or 10 years ago, who would have ever thought we would do a full interview and stream it everywhere from our different houses, but like you said, trying to relate, that fine line of, hey, we can talk like normal people, but hey, also I've got to be tough on you. Just being able to relate, maybe even something as simple as relating to situations they're in. It may be family, it may be, whatever. Because believe it or not, it wasn't just too many moons ago that I was in their shoes. A little bit different with girls, but, some of the same issues they face, and I've already been there. So, I think it's good. It's just finding that fine line of good, too much, not enough. What is that fine line?
Yeah, see, when I was playing and for Coach Talley and all that, here you are. You can send group text out to your players and they can respond and all that. With Coach Talley, he's having sent out smoke signals because there wasn't no telephone yet.
Yeah.
So, and then Randall, they wouldn't even light back then. So I don't know how he communicated with his coaches.
We didn't even have nets, Howie. We just shot it into a beach basket. So
beach basket.
we were back when Converse really was basketball shoes. So, Coach, one thing I want to ask, and you better, especially if the volleyball team's doing a fundraiser, what can we do as fans and as supporters to help the program? And do you do a yearly fundraiser for the girls basketball, separate from the other programs?
Typically, yes. We sell the ad signs in the gym. The biggest fundraiser that I've had success with was selling peaches. We sold like 300 boxes of peaches this past spring. Fundraiser wise, I just sold shirts, and I try to limit it to those three. If I can't raise money to that, then I just need to back up on buying stuff. But I do try to support all programs. We just got out of the big homecoming, elementary homecoming thing where that benefits volleyball. My daughter was selected, and we did participate in that. If football's selling stuff, cheerleaders, whoever it is, I try to make sure that I do my part and I buy something from somebody, or at least make them a monetary donation, because there's going to come a time to where my girls are going to be selling stuff, and
right.
we want them to be supported as well.
Howie, that's your new job, to make sure we get all the fundraisers posted, especially girls volleyball moving forward, so we can get Coach Finch out of the doghouse here. So, Coach, I'll ask one question, and Howie, I'll leave it to you to take us home. We talked about my love for Pat Summitt. I'm privileged to get to hear her speak at some alumni meetings, and we were talking about a quote, so I looked it up, and she was talking about, it was different than I said earlier. She was talking about when you bond a team together. She was indicating it sometimes that a team is the same, male, female, no matter what. So are they characteristics that of a good football player that a good basketball player has?
I think in the grand scheme of things, when we're talking about a team sport, there are a lot of similarities. Getting kids to play for each other and the mindset of I've got your back, you got mine.
Right.
The biggest, and I think you can relate to this guy, Inky Johnson talks about that.
Yeah.
He talks about it was a blown coverage is the reason he got hurt, but he couldn't leave his brother out to die, hanging out to dry. So he had to go make that tackle. And I think it doesn't matter football, basketball, baseball, soccer. It doesn't matter soccer, volleyball, whatever. You've got to have kids that are playing for each other more than anything. And if I get beat off the drive, I know the one behind me that should be help side will be help side. And it's kind of a trickle down effect. I don't think it matters, male, female, whatever. Now the chemistry may be more so with girls, more so important than on the male side, but I still think they're very, very close, in relation as far as a good team. You're going to see a team that hangs out with each other. You're going to see a team that goes places together, does things together, and in practice you may battle, and you may poke fun at each other, but when somebody else does, it's war. And I think I don't think it matters what sport, male or female.
That's awesome. My two favorite college sports are football and girls basketball, and of course, going to UT in the '80s and the early '90s, there's no doubt that I am so heavily influenced by even the athletes. I just remember being so blessed to be able to see, some of the girls that came through Tennessee. So,
Right.
Women's basketball has a special place in my heart and will to the day. I make everybody mad, Coach, because I tell them that in college basketball, men don't play basketball; they play slam dunk. You want to watch good fundamentals, flip it over and watch the women's basketball. So they all get mad at me. So, Coach, thank you for your time, Howie. What you got to finish this up, buddy? You ain't made him cry yet.
No. I'm not going to today. We talked about fundraisers and all that. Coach, is there any social media stuff that you want to plug while you're here? Instagram, Facebook, whatever.
It's funny you say that. We have Savannah Girls Basketball has a Facebook, Instagram, and a Twitter page that I got some managers that are going to help us. I'm sorry, I misspoke. Student assistants that are going to help us keep those up to date, post scores, post highlights.
Nice.
But those student assistants are also running cross country right now, so they haven't been with us. But they will be, and so we're looking forward to that. Recently, just posted the schedule. Posted a.
We had somebody pump through trying to spam us, and I had to kill it. Sorry about
Okay.
that. Y'all.
Sorry, I was like, but anyways,
yeah. We got you get spammers every now and then too. So
I got you.
Everybody else, sorry about that.
But anyways, we got a poster schedule that I just posted. With our schedule, highlighting some of our players, both male and female, that we just posted, and we'll continue to post updates as the season goes along.
You're telling us you got all this stuff,
but
but
answer.
And I say John popped up, but you're telling us all this stuff. So tell us at whatever is it SHS Lady Basketball or what's
on Facebook. I don't know these all by heart. Like I said, I got some of the girls helping me with it. But, on Facebook, it's just Savannah Lady Rams Basketball, and then you'll see it pop up and just like that page. Like I said, there's times I just post different stuff. It may be a motivational stuff, or it may be schedule, pictures, some things from practice, that type of thing. On Twitter, it's at Savannah Girls B-Ball. That's our Twitter page. And then on Instagram, I got to find it. I'm not sure. I can't find it quickly because you put me on the spot like that. You could have given me the heads up.
I'll post them in the notes of the show too. I'll get them if you can send them to Howie or myself later on. Or
Okay, and they're on. What I'll do is I will send y'all that poster. Howie, I'll send that to you because it's got all those on it, both men and women. So those tags are those pages are on there. So we will get that out there and hopefully get people following those pages and keep them up to date by that way.
So, Coach, we're going to be asking other coaches in the area. So if anybody comes and asks you what your experience was like, lie to them, tell them it was great. It's just like being on ESPN, and maybe we can get some other coaches and get the word out.
Oh, I'm sure.
I don't know where we picked up the spammer at, but I'm sitting here watching some incredible spam come through right now. Sorry, y'all, somebody got through the firewall, and I mean, they wore us out for a second while I was killing it. That's the thing. That's the thing about doing a live show on social media. Somewhere along the way, somebody's going to get through your filter. So
yeah, take me for a loop. When it popped up, I was like, "Whoa, man!"
I was like, "Yeah, you already see the ones I'm looking at right now."
I can imagine.
And John Seals actually, I was about to kill his feed because then I realized it was John. I was like, "Oh, I'm going to kill John's feed." So I think I got everybody kicked out now. Sorry about that, everybody. But, Coach, if you ever want to come back, if you want to come back mid-year, if you want to come back to the end of the year, let us know. You're always welcome. We love the program. And if I will post all your fundraisers, if Mr. Chaney there will make sure to get us a link to it, and we'll put it on RiverCity-Media. And Messenger and all that good stuff for you.
I will get them to you as soon as Coach Finch gets them to me.
Well, I trust Coach. I don't know if I trust you or not.
Hey, well, sometimes I don't know if that's good either. That's why, like I said, I got my student assistants. They can keep me in check. I had girls today say, "Coach, what about this? What about this?" Yeah, that's good, girls. Thanks for reminding me because I forgot all about it. So the girls have to keep me in check at times.
Well, one last question to both of you: are the Braves going to clinch tonight?
Yes.
Yes. That's what I want to hear, Coach. Howie ain't got no faith. So,
I didn't hear a word. I got froze up for a second. I didn't hear what you asked.
I said, are the Braves going to clinch tonight?
Absolutely.
There you go. So, Coach, you said we wouldn't have much of a following, or all 20 million folks wouldn't come in, but we did hit a few hundred in. That's a lot of interest in your program. So, y'all built something special down there.
Well, they probably was looking for, didn't know what I would say. Probably, Coach. It's like Coach Kittle. I'm sure she'll make sure that I understand I was wrong tonight. So anyway, she'll find a way.
I got a comment from a number 11 here too. Is that one of your number 11s?
No, that looks like Coach Kittle. I think
Coach. Hey, Coach, if you'll be nice to Coach, we'll have you on next time. We'll go to girls volleyball next. Yes, it is. See, she is paying attention to what you're doing.
See, she pays attention better than I thought.
She don't look over 25 to me.
Oh, Lord. Now I'm going to have to hear about that.
Well, she's young. Coach Kittle, we'd love to have you on sometimes too. Absolutely. Thank you for joining us. For Howie Chaney, for Coach, anything else to plug? First game of the year?
November 16th at Section.
John Seals says don't give too much credit.
He knows where the credit goes to the girls.
Hey, Howie, we got our next interview set up. So Coach Kittle said she'd come in and sit in with us. That's going to have to happen now.
Absolutely. Most definitely. I know
Oh,
Coach
God.
Kittle real
Coach,
well. So
you better watch this one because I'm going to give her an open mic and let her talk about you now.
Oh, I don't know if that's good or bad.
All right, Coach. I sure enjoy you. I enjoyed having Coach Van in. Somewhere along the way, I'm going to get back home down that way, and it's going to be my broadcast home again someday. So y'all just hang around long enough, and the old man will get back home sooner or later. So
Well, come on. We'll
Coach
be waiting
Finch,
on you.
Coach Finch, really appreciates the time. I know that you're fixing to just go wide open for the next 4 months, and I hope you have another great run. And I will see you Monday night, I think, at 5.
That's right. We'll be there.
hey, and John Seals said Coach Kittle would be a fun interview. So we had Tyler Van, and he didn't do. Tyler got in more trouble than you did, Coach Finch, because he kept talking about a school up the road that he just couldn't stop hating on. So that's when he got in trouble.
Well,
So,
it happens.
for Howie Chaney, for Coach Finch, for all the River City Media family, good night, Coach. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Y'all, everybody go watch the Braves. Good night.
Thank you for